First of all, very disappointing in terms of the way we competed. Brent has really done a really good job of really elevating this football team from last year. So he's done a really good job there. There was a marked difference with this football team than what we saw on video. They're tough, they're physical. I thought they out-athleted us. The speed differential is probably the most glaring I've probably seen in my career. So he's done a good job that way. But when you play a team like Oklahoma, and they're a top 25 football team for a reason, and you watch the success that they'll have this year. This is a talented football team. They challenge you in so many ways. You have to be disciplined in the details. And you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game. And when you give up big explosive plays and special teams, when you can't get off the field on third down, when you can't possess the ball, when you have untimely penalties and drop footballs, and you have lack of execution and in details, those are the things where you get exposed. If you take a play off, when you play against really good football players, you get exposed. And we got exposed today. And I am responsible for this. I know the caliber of football team that we played is very, very good, but we still talk about playing to a standard, and we did not play to a high level, to a standard of performance that we talk about. And so all we can do is learn from it. And I think it's great for a lot of our younger players of how they came out. We knew it. We knew we were going to get a deep ball within the first 4 or 5 plays of the game. We knew all that. It's the matter of executing it. But it's the meticulous attention to details, the discipline that really bothers me the most. So we'll go back. We'll really dive into who competed, who didn't compete, and move forward. But you can't let one game define who you are. We're all a byproduct of experiences. My first year as a head football coach, that was 2007. We went to Clemson, and we had a very good football team, and we lost 70-14. And it was like this. It was embarrassing. And we had a group of freshmen, Antonio Brown, J.J. Watt. We had some older players, and Nick Ballore, Dan Lefevre, some individuals that way that rallied that team. And we won a championship, and we went to a bowl game. And I think, as unfortunate and embarrassing as this is, how can we learn from this? How can we move forward? That's the only way I know, is to be able to move forward with it. But I'm responsible for it. But I have to give them a lot of credit too, because they're a damn good football team.
I wanted to ask you about, I think, a moment I saw in, second half. Justin Parks came and kind of, consoled you. I think you were obviously kind of looking disappointed, discouraged. What did it mean for one of your leaders to kind of lift you up?
Well, there's a lot of players on our team that care, and that's the first part. When we got here, we didn't have very many. So now, and unfortunately, he couldn't play today. But again, it still gets back to pride in performance, pride in your preparation with everything you do. And like I said, if you get beat because he's better than you, I can live with that. It's the untimely penalties. It's the lack of effort. It's the casualness at times. It's all those things that bother me. And so, I expect this team will bounce back. Like I said, it's what do we take from this experience and gain from it, like that Central Michigan team did. We can gain something from this, and we can become closer. We got to be more accountable to each other in the way we practice. On game day, the communication. There's a number of times we start the game and we call 2 blitzes, and our money linebacker doesn't blitz. Then we misaligned on the first play of the game, and they're on unbalance. And when you don't even align or do your assignments that you've been practicing over and over and over, there's a little bit of accountability on them as well. But it starts with me. It starts with our coaches. And this team will bounce back. They'll be resilient. And we have to be a team that earns everything that we get. We understand that. We don't have any all-conference football players that were on the preseason all-conference, but that's okay. We got to play well collectively as 11. And we didn't do that and play complementary football. We were bad in all three phases.
How do you not let this loss linger and kind of affect your confidence going into next week?
Well, I think you got to learn from it. And you need to rely on your experiences that you've had in the past, and you got to rely on your leaders like Justin Parks. And what do you take away from this experience? Okay, as much adversity that we created for ourselves, how are we a better football team moving from it? I think you have open dialogue. Shoot, if you're a competitor, you can't wait to get on the practice field. You got a rival coming to town. We've had 2 close games. We've come out short. It's going to be a great environment. We get to play in Centennial Bank Stadium in front of our own fans. If you're a competitor, you're excited about that. And we'll find out more the way this team goes. And as we continue to build this, we're not going to compromise our standard of expectations and the standard of performance that we have set forth in our football program. We are not going to digress in those expectations.
When it comes to, addressing the team in the locker room, how do you begin to address them? What's the biggest message that you want them to take away from this?
Well, there's a number of messages, and those messages started at halftime. But again, first of all, I believe in them, and I still love them. That hasn't changed. So, it's guys that want to roll their sleeves up, learn from it, and get better, and maybe hold themselves more accountable of what we're talking about. And just as important is holding each other accountable. We need more focus. We can't jump off sides on a field goal block. All those little things, the field goal. We jump off sides, 5-yard penalty, then we miss the field goal. Good teams don't make those mistakes. And if you look at, our resume of everywhere we've been, if you ask anybody what a Butch Jones coach team is, they're extremely disciplined and detailed, and they're tough and they're physical. And we didn't have that today, and that's on me. And the expectations, but also you need leaders to step up, and they understand, they get it. So this can be a growing opportunity, as crazy as that sounds in a defeat. But that's the only way I look at it, is how can we learn and how can we grow and move forward. We're going to win football games with this football team.
Anything else for Coach, guys?
With Dominic Zabata, he's a great kicker, and he missed 2 field goals today. What is it going to take for him in practice, and I'll just keep lifting him up to make sure he doesn't lose the confidence he's gained throughout all of last year?
Mental toughness. I mean, it's like being a golfer. And sometimes too, blindly people just look at the kicker, but sometimes it's the snapper, sometimes it's the hold. It's really all 3 of those individuals working collectively as one, not just the kicker. But Dominic's going to be just fine. And again, I think maybe it gets back to focus, worried about other things. Just focus, win the moment, focus on all those things. So again, everything that happens to you is an opportunity to learn from it if you have that mindset of, your mental disposition of learning from that. And I trust that this football team has a lot of good kids and will bounce back from it.
When you look at the offense, and especially, no turnovers, not a lot of hurries, well, the fumble, but not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of quarterback hurries or sacks. What did you just take away from it?
We got to win one-on-one matchups. It starts on the perimeter. We got to win one-on-one matchups. You can't drop footballs. And again, you look at the difference. Their receivers were consistent, but they made plays. I mean, they made one-handed catches, all that. And, we have the ability to do it. It's just, it's the high level of consistency. It's the focus. It's the determination, all those things. But, the biggest thing is just execution. And we did not do that very well.
Everybody good? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.